Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It is Monday review time, and it's another 1-0 win to be talking about. Another home clean sheet, another home 3 points. 5 games on the spin now without letting in a goal at the Mems Priestfield Stadium, as we saw off Sunderland by 1-0 at the weekend. Another deserved victory against a beleaguered Mackems, run by a deluded Phil Parkinson. If you've had the fortune or misfortune, depending on where your allegiance lies, to listen to his post-match comments regarding a goal that was disallowed. Correctly, I like to add, and we'll get onto that later on in the video, but let's talk about ourselves first. Like I say, another superb performance by everybody involved, all the 12 that were on the pitch on Saturday afternoon, and we had to go right to the end again to get the job done, like we did in the Cup replay just over 2 weeks ago. But my word, did we go to the end, and how great was it to hear the Raynham end in full voice at the end after Conor Ogilvy's late winner. Spoke about it last week and the week before, and I'm asking the same question again. Is that our best performance of the season? We asked it after Lincoln, we've asked it after Sunderland in the Cup replay, we asked it just last week after dismantling Doncaster 3-0 in the Cup. We're asking it again now. I thought first half we were much the better side. Should have been in front, because Brandon Hanlon scores a perfectly good goal, it seems, looking at the stills. I know it's not entirely conclusive, but there's plenty of people that were sat in the Medway stand parallel to the goal line, and they've said the ball was well over the line. If you look at Tom O'Connor's reaction as he's sort of following up when it bounces down off the crossbar the first time, he sees it hit the floor and he immediately signals and motions to the lino like this, that the whole ball has gone in, and points down into the back of the net. So I think Brandon Hanlon can count himself really unlucky not to have added to his tally for the season. I think Mika Mandron will feel disappointed that he didn't add to his. Again, Brandon Hanlon was involved, as he seems to be most weeks at the moment, in everything that we do well. Drove at the Sunderland backline, absolutely terrorised them for pace all afternoon, I have to add, and cut the ball back, and Mika running onto it 3 yards out, probably caught it too well with a bit of a hindsight. If he'd scuffed it or shinned it, it'd have probably rolled in the bottom corner, but he caught it flush and somehow managed to slap it against the upright, and it come back out into play. And we said at half time that we just had to keep doing the same things, because we were the better side by a distance, and it was up to us to go and grab the game by the scruff of the neck and ensure that as it went on, we were thinking there's just going to be one goal in this game, and we had to make sure that it was us. And thankfully we did that, and these wins are being built on excellent defensive performances. You don't keep 5 clean sheets at home on the spin without being very, very good, and it's great to see a consistent side being picked. I think the back four and the keeper picks itself at the moment. But going through the team, you'd imagine that I think Steve Evans probably knows 80-90% of his best 11 now. Jack Bonham, obviously, the number one. The back four, like I say, picks itself at the moment. And with obviously Thomas Connor being able to play in midfield as well, it gives us a bit more flexibility. Alfie Jones seems to have nailed down the anchor role at the base of the diamond. Mark Byrne, unfortunately, picked up an injury, but we'll get on to him in a little while. He's taking one of them spots, as well as is Stuart O'Keefe most weeks. But obviously O'Keefe has missed a couple of games with a hamstring problem. Mark Byrne might be out for a while, but like I say, we'll talk about that shortly. I think the front two is first choice at the moment, so it seems that we know nine of the 11 nailed on at least, even 10, which is a really good sign, because that means that we're getting continuity, we're getting consistency. All the players that are featuring on a regular basis are building up relationships, know how each other plays, and moving forward, that can only be a good thing. And Steve Evans, the main thing he talks about on the back page of Monday's Medway Messenger is we can't be complacent, alongside an excellent picture of match winner Conor Ogilvy. He's absolutely spot on. The minute we drop off, the minute we let our levels drop, the minute we start thinking we're winning games before we've earned the right to do so, we'll come unstuck. But there seems to be no sign of that at the moment. And he talks about the team playing the way that him and Paul Rayner wants. And I know Mr. Rayner alluded to this a week or so back and said that Gillingham was starting to look like a Steve Evans and Paul Rayner side. But Evans talks in this one and says about being relentless, and he says, Evans says, we spoke to the group pre-season and I think their relentless and our relentless were quite different. Players said, oh, I played like that with so-and-so, but their relentless wasn't our relentless. We are relentless on the side, as people know, and we expect our players to be the same. Relentless doesn't always make you win a game, but there is no dispute we've deserved to win recently. Cannot disagree. We press high, we press early, we put teams under pressure. We said it about the Doncaster game last week. We didn't let them settle, we didn't let them play out from the back, and we won 3-0. Sunderland, they're going through a rough trot at the moment. We know that, a really rough trot. Their players may not be playing for the manager. I don't know, you can only ask them that, but in terms of Sunderland fans, they don't want Phil Parkinson in charge, and obviously if there's negativity coming from the terraces, that's going to, feed down to the players on the pitch, and it makes things difficult. But give us credit, we were spot on again, really, really good from front to back, from first whistle to last whistle. We were much the better side, and they had a spell for 10 minutes after Charlie White's introduction, didn't they? Yeah, and I think he come on, his first 2 touches were getting the ball at his feet and then drilling a shot wide, and then he had a goal disallowed, and Phil Parkinson spent 3 minutes after the game just talking about that and whinging about that, saying that it cost his side the game, and the linesman and the referee guessed and didn't see what was going on. Well, they clearly didn't, and I sat here a couple of weeks ago after Wimbledon and berated a referee, so it's nice to be able to sit here and give an official credit, because they could have done the simple thing and just waved it off and said, oh no, the goal stands, and, helped out the bigger club, so to speak. But the referee and the linesman, in credit, they had a chat, and the linesman said that no, Jack Bonham, clearly impeded by Luke O'Nien as the ball comes in. He's holding his arm back, so Jack can't get off the floor to try and claim the cross, and there's talk that Charlie White was offside as well. So it's 2 reasons that the goal's potentially been disallowed, but whichever way, they got to the right decision, didn't they? And then, as the game approached its final minute, Ollie Lee clips in a corner, and before I get to the big crescendo and the climax of the goal, I want to talk about, I think we need to give Max Amar a bit of credit, because if you watch the highlights carefully, I'm not sure it's the cleanest touch, but he's definitely got the ball under control, and I think he's trying to flick it or back heel it into the path of either Connor or another player, and he just about gets enough on it, and from there Connor takes over, one touch on his thigh or his knee, and it's an unbelievably good finish for a left back at the moment. Slaps it into the top corner from the middle of the box, and bedlam in the rain. I mean, Stocky nearly throttled me on my own scarf jumping around so much. And yeah, as the kids like to call it, there were some good scenes and some great limbs in the rain. I mean, I think I listened to the Gills Fancast podcast today, and Reece said he ended up falling down a row of seats. So for Reece to be doing that kind of thing indicates that it was a pretty big moment. And I think the last time we had a last-minute winner at home was last season, and that was, I think, Brandon Hanlon's late winner against Oxford in about the 88th minute as well, and that was a similar sort of situation, and it was a massive win in terms of making sure that we stayed up. But yeah, I think yesterday topped it based on the opposition and just how well we'd played, and just how frustrating it would have been if we ended up drawing the game. And like I've already mentioned, we said on the Matchday Live, we had to make sure that if it was just a 1-goal game, we got that 1 goal. And my word, what a finish. And the scenes at the end were absolutely spot on. I know there's a picture in here, I think we've got it, and I know the cameraman was sort of caught in the bundle, but he's managed to get an excellent shot. Fans and players embracing, and the Rainimen was going off. There were people sweeping down to the front as quickly as their legs would carry them, and maybe I would have done if I could run, but I can't move at the moment. So jumping up and down and going a bit mental was plenty fun for me, and it's good fun watching the Gills at the moment, isn't it? And that's down to a lot of people. And as much as some people won't like me saying it again, that is down to Steve Evans, and that is down to Paul Rayner, and that's down to his support staff, Gary Hayman, Simon Royce, and whoever else is doing the hard work behind the scenes and on the training pitch and on a match day. And it's also down to the squad that we're putting together, the 11 that go out and start football matches, and them substitutes that get used from the bench. They're all putting in a shift. I was pleased for Mark Marshall. I know he had one moment that almost cost us, and it led to the goal being disallowed, but I thought aside from that, he was decent. It was probably, in terms of a league game, one of his best attacking performances. Constantly got into dangerous areas and put good enough delivery into the box. And I think it would have been really harsh if we'd ended up losing or not winning the game because of Marsh's error, if you want to call it that. But I said on the match day live, I didn't think it was entirely his fault. He was forced back towards his own goal by a bloke who was about a foot taller than him, and then for one of the very few occasions, we didn't seem to give him an option or an angle to release a pass and offload the ball. But it's something we can talk about and not worry about now. But yeah, just a couple of special mentions again, not in focus tonight, but Jack Tucker, again, absolutely ridiculous for a 20-year-old who's only playing, he's still under 20 games as a professional. And I'm not sure Will Grigg's still alive. He must have suffocated, because he's been in Jack Tucker's pocket for the best part of 3 weeks now, hasn't he? So fingers crossed he's been let out for the Christmas period, and Mark McNulty too, because he didn't get a kick. Max Amar was spot on next to him, and he's marshalling his young centre-back partner through these games absolutely admirably, and I think he's been one of our most consistent players this season, Max, and he's doing a job that goes unnoticed, and that's a good thing, because if you're not noticing our defenders because they're not making mistakes or not having to do too much in terms of last-ditch defending, then it's a good sign. But for me, and we gave him man of the match, not just for his goal, but Connor Ogilvie. I think if someone had said 12, 18 months ago, Connor Ogilvie's a joke at left-back, it had a very different meaning to saying that Connor Ogilvie was a joke at left-back at the weekend, because I've labelled him Fabio Cannavaro. He's been absolutely brilliant for the best part of a month or two now. Really, really consistent, especially in this run at home since we lost to Rotherham at the start of November. Him and all the back four and the keeper have been absolutely immaculate, but Connor Ogilvie just gets better and better for me. He can now play centre-back and full-back, and we know that Steve Evans said back in the summer he wouldn't play him full-back, but it seems that he's done a lot of training groundwork with him, and he's been absolutely flawless for the 2 or 3 games that he's played there recently. And like I say, it gives us more options, because it means we can push Tom O'Connor further forward onto the left side of a diamond and keeps that balance, and it also helps us out defensively, because Tom will naturally drop in if we are under the cosh or don't have the ball. But yeah, that's my new hashtag, Fabio Cannavaro. Absolutely brilliant, and he can score goals. I don't know if Cannavaro ever scored a goal like that, but I don't really care, because Connor's better. Tongue in cheek, firmly. Right, just quickly before I let you all go and enjoy the rest of your evening and your day. Luke Cordell's match report, we always like to mention a couple of bits in there, and it says Ollie Lee's delivery wasn't cleared properly, and Ogilvie set himself up by controlling the ball on his thigh and volley him home into the top corner with just a minute of normal time remaining. Sunderland were unable to respond, as Gills' backline once again remained sound, keeping a 5th clean sheet on the bounce. Sorry, a 5th straight clean sheet at home. It's a phenomenal run of form. I have no idea when the last time was that we kept 5. We certainly haven't done it in recent years. I don't know what the record is. Maybe at some point when I get more spare time, I'll have a look. But maybe Gary Wade, who does the Gills stats, might be able to tell us more if he's listening. So if you can, let us know, Gary. That'd be brilliant. But yeah, we need to keep enjoying it while it lasts. It's brilliant fun, like I say, going to watch us play at the moment. We've got a tough one coming up this weekend, and we travel to Fleetwood, but I think our record up there in the last few seasons hasn't been too bad. I think it was a 1-1 draw last season. Tom Eaves opening the scoring before they got a wind-assisted equaliser. I think the season before that we won 2-0 just before Christmas. I think Luke O'Neill scored in that game. So if we can go up there and pick up a point or 3 points, it'll be another good weekend's work. And then obviously we get into the hustle and bustle of Christmas, where we have to play games in very quick succession. We'll be playing Saturday the 21st, we'll be playing the 26th, Boxing Day, then the weekend of the 29th, I think, and then midweek New Year's Day game against Portsmouth before that big cup tie at the start of January against West Ham United. So plenty to look forward to, especially with the form as it is. Last bit before I go, promise match ratings. I'll do Luke's first and then ours. Jack Bonham 6, we said 7. Barry Fuller 8, we said 7. Max Amar 7, we said 7.5. Jack Tucker 7, we said 7.5. Luke gave Connor Ogilvie an 8, we said 8.5. Alfie Jones 7 for Luke, 7.5 for us. We both gave Mark Byrne and Tom O'Connor a 7 each. Ollie Lee 7 for Luke, we said 6.5. Brandon Hanlon 8 for Luke, 7.5 for us, and Mika Mandron 7, but 7.5 for us. So same total in terms of the front pairing, and substitutions 6.5 for us for Mark Marshall and 7 for Luke. But like I say, there was promise in Marsh's performance, and he can only improve obviously when he gets more minutes, and he's not had loads of them at the moment. So we're going to need him, and we're going to need every squad member available that's fit throughout a busy festive period. And just to end on a slightly sour note, obviously Mark Byrne went off early doors in the game just before half time with what's now come out to be a knee problem, and Steve Evans talking in the press doesn't seem too hopeful that it's going to be an immediate return. So it might be something that we missed for a few weeks, which would be a shame because he's been absolutely spot on since getting into the side after the first couple of games. Burner showing the form that's, that won him Player of the Year a season or two ago. So that's the only sour note after what was another excellent weekend for Gillingham Football Club and its fans. And I keep saying it, we had a few people come up to us before the game Saturday and said that they watch the channel and they enjoy it, and they don't get to as many games as they can because of different commitments and living further away. And that's why we do it. It's great to keep people in touch with the football club that can't get there as often as we can. And we've said all the time that we've been doing it in 2.5 years. It's great to be able to bring more content of us winning football matches, because obviously that's more fun and it's more interesting to talk about. And this is probably the best run of form at home that we've managed to cover, and long may it continue, to coin an adage that I like to use. So yeah, all in all, 99.9% positive. The only downside is Mark Burns' injury, but we can't complain too much at the moment. Another really good performance and another really good win. Right, I will let you lovely people all disappear. You know where we are: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and Instagram. We will be back Thursday for a match preview looking ahead to the Fleetwood game. But until next time, up the Gills.